We're looking at the compound angle formulae now, which are all given on page 14 in the log tables alongside the double angle formulae. These are the ones we're working on in this exercise. I'll show you in a separate video where these formulae come from. So for the moment, if you could just take them on faith. The first question asks us to write all of these as a fraction, and they're also asking us to work with the values given on page 13, so not to work with the calculator, and we're specifically working with these angles of 0, 90, 180, 270, 30, 45 and 60. Those last three are the big ones. So the first one, tan 15, that's not one of our special angles. So what we'll do with that is we'll say, well, that's tan of 45 minus 30. And now we can use, that's our compound angle, or putting the angles together is what they mean by compound. This formula here, tan A minus B. Okay, so it's tan A minus tan B over 1 plus tan A tan B. So tan A, and I just realised I might be running out of space on this one, that's tan of 45 minus tan of 30 over 1 minus tan A, tan 45, tan B, which is tan 30. Okay, well, what do we get out of that? Tan 45, if you go back to page 13, tan 45 is 1. Okay, tan of 30 is 1 over root 3. So we get 1 minus 1 over root 3 divided by 1 minus 1 times 1 over root 3. Now, excuse me, that should have been a plus, and that's a plus. To get rid of the surd there, we're going to multiply top and bottom of the fraction by root 3. And what you'll get as an answer is root 3 take away 1 divided by root 3 plus 1. Okay, and there's our answer there for tan of 15 in surd form, which is what they've asked us for in this one. I'm going to skip sine of 135 just because of space. Tan of 75 then is 45 plus 30, so that's going to be, in fact, you can do that one yourself. I'll have a look at sine of 135. That's sine of 90 plus 45. So this time you use the formula for sine A plus B, which is sine A cos B cos A sine B. So that is sine 90 cos 45 plus cos 90 sine 45. Right. Sine of 90 is 1. Okay, again, given back here, sine of 90 is 1. Times cos of 45 is 1 over root 2. Plus cos of 90 is 0. So it doesn't matter what sine of 45 is, it's also 1 over root 2. But we get ourselves 1 over root 2 as our answer there. Just with that one, actually, if you go back to that whole cast thing on the unit circle, sine of 135 has a reference angle of 45 degrees. That'll be 135 there. And it's in the quadrant where sine is positive, so it's the same as sine of 45 degrees, which is 1 over root 2. Another approach you could take. Question 4. It gives you something that's laid out like a compound angle formula. They want you to recognize that that's sine A cos B plus cos A sine B. So that's this formula here, sine A plus B. So this just gives us sine of A plus B is 45 plus 15. That's sine 60. And actually 60 is one of our special angles. So if we come back here, sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. Question 5, same thing. They want you to recognize that this is one of our compound angle formulas. That's just for part 1, sorry, I'm going to leave the rest of 4 to yourselves. Question 5, tan of something plus tan of something else minus tan of something times tan of something else. That's this formula here. Okay, that's the tan A plus B formula, where A confusingly, is 2a, and b is in the place of a. Okay, but either way, that's the formula for tan of the first thing plus the second thing. Okay, so they've only asked you to simplify there, so that's tan of 3a is what you're going to get there. Question 9 I want to look at. If tan of a plus b is 1 and tan of a is 1/3, find the tan of b. Well, the formula for tan of a plus b is tan a plus tan b over 1 minus tan a tan b. Well, if we know that this is 1, tan a is 1/3 plus, I'm going to change tan b to just a capital T, okay? Just for simplicity in the algebra, over 1 minus 1/3, and again of capital T. And I'm going to cross multiply here, so I'm going to get 1 minus 1/3 of T equals 1/3 plus capital T. And that's what we're trying to find, is what capital T equals. So let's move these things around. If I move this to the right, it becomes plus 1/3. Move this to the left, it becomes minus 1/3. So I get 1 minus 1/3 equals T plus 1/3 T. So that gives me 2/3 equals 4T over 3. Multiplying through by 3, I'm going to get 2 equals 4T, and dividing through then, T equals 1/2, or tan B is 1/2. Okay, so that's question 9, that type of question. Question 14, occasionally you'd be given a picture, and in 14 you're told, the diagram shows a triangle of height h. The angles A and B are such that A plus B together gives 45. By using the expression tan of A plus B, or otherwise find the value of h. Well, if they say or otherwise, they usually mean there's an easy way using this. So the compound angle formula for that is tan A times tan B over, plus over 1 minus tan A tan B. Now if you come to this diagram here and have a look at it, the tan of A is opposite over hypotenuse 2 over h, and the tan of B is opposite over hypotenuse 3 over h. So plugging that in up here, we know the tan of A plus B, that's tan of 45, because they told you that in the question, equals tan A is 2 over h, plus tan B is 3 over h, divided by 1 minus 2 over h, multiplied by 3 over h. Well, what do we get? Tan of 45, if you look it up on page 13, is 1. So you get 1 equals, they can go together because you've got a common denominator of h, 5 over h divided by 1 minus 6 over h squared. Multiplying this across gets us 1 minus 6 over h squared equals 5 over h. And then if you multiply through by h squared, you get rid of all of the fractions and you're left with a quadratic. So what do we get? You get h squared minus 6 equals 5h. Okay, if you want to say 5h squared over h and cancel the h's, you can do that. 6h squared over h squared and cancel the h squareds, you can do that as well. Either way though, you get yourself this quadratic, and moving the 5h over, you get h squared minus 6h minus 5 equals, minus 6 minus 5h, sorry about that, equals 0. Okay, or you'd normally write that like that. That's going to factorize h and h. Let's see, minus 6 is going to be 6 and 1 gets you minus 6 plus 1 gets you minus 5h. And then you can say, well then h equals either -1 or h equals 6. Of course it can't equal -1 because it's a height. So there's your answer there, h equals 6. Right, I'll leave it there, and I'll post a separate video showing where all of these formulae come from.